Mate. I gotta say, I didn't plan that out in advance, though. I didn't actually see rook takes e5. That white could try to win a pawn like that. If this works, it was sort of lucky, but... I mean, at maximum, it looked like white was going to win a pawn out of that, and me already being up a piece, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But it looks like it does backfire due to those dual threats. Yeah, now queen takes pawn checkmate. Okay, so this game had some interesting trading situations. So let's go back and have a brief look at that. So we had a double king pawn opening. I don't like d3 on move 3 so much for white. It's not like an awful move or anything, but it needlessly locks in the lights for a bishop. So I would prefer more theoretical moves here, like bishop c4, the Joko Italian game, or bishop d5, the Ruy Lopez Spanish game. There's other stuff too, like d4, knight c3. So after d3, I just tried to develop my pieces logically. Bishop outside the pawn chain. Castle. I did play this rook pawn move, a6. That's not a move I would play lightly. There has to be some sort of reason behind it, especially if you're going to be doing this with black this early on in the game. My reasoning was that if white ever plays knight a4 trying to hunt down my bishop, I can tuck it away on a7. But again, you don't want to give up bishops for knights just randomly for no particular reason. So white played bishop g5, and I answered with h6. So first major trading decision. And if white had played bishop h4, I was probably going to play g5. This is a device you can use if you haven't castled yet and your opponent has in these e4, e5 positions. Because if the bishop is driven back to g3, I can make a strong argument for attacking white on the king side using my pawns that are already somewhat advanced. And this bishop may very well be out of play on g3 for the rest of the game. There's a classic game, if you want to look up something on this theme, Winter versus Capablanca, where Capablanca as black demonstrated how poorly placed this bishop can be, especially in a reduced tutorial position. So, I'm not actually sure white should play bishop g5 on move number 9, or move number 7 rather. They might be better off playing bishop e3, offering a bishop for bishop trade, because I have an inkling that black has nothing to fear after h6, bishop takes f6, queen takes, as happened in the game. I have the bishop pair now. This knight is temporarily active on b5, but unless it creates some further threats, I don't see it being a long-term problem for me. Sometimes if white does launch some moves on c5, they'll try to follow up with a move like c3 and then d4. So maybe white should do that here, but c3, I think I can just castle d4, maybe bishop back to a7. I should be fine. So I think that trade was a slight net gain for black. Now c4 I don't like, because that means that white can no longer use a pawn to attack or defend the d4 square. So they can never contest a piece that I put on d4 with one of their pawns. They have to deal with it using one of their pieces, like a knight for knight trade or something. Castle, I could have played bishop d4 as well. Now position, white played a3, and now bishop g4. So originally I thought this idea was not working due to maybe that tactic from the previous game had me gun shy, right? Because I was worried about knight takes e5. But I think I can play bishop takes e2. And if knight takes c6, again, in between move, I can just take back on c6. And white has two pieces under attack. They need to address the queen situation. Take. I've won a piece. So once I saw that that was the case, I had to go ahead in my brain to play bishop g4. So bishop g4, white played b4. I'm just dropping the bishop back. b5, so white continues expanding on the queen side. They do have more pawns over there, and they've been pushing. So now I traded, got rid of the knight, specifically so that I can get my knight up to d4. That's the rationale behind this trade. We're not just doing it willy-nilly. It's connected to a plan. So sinking the knight into d4 is the objective, and I got to remove one of the defenders. I don't want to do it right now. Knight d4 would be a big blunder after knight takes d4, and my bishop on g4 would be attacked by white's bishop. So remove that first. And I can point to having conquered that d4 square as my compensation for having given up the bishop. So a4, put the bishop on c5. And now c6, so I am offering a pawn trade with that move, but I'm trying to use it to kick out the knight to f5. the whole point of this. So take, knight back to e3. I was running a little short on time at this point, but I think white maybe should have focused on trying to swap knights. So maybe knight c2 right here, looking for a knight-knight trade. I would have a pretty strong bishop even in this case. Like, imagine if something like this occurred. I love my bishop on d4. I feel like it's a lot more effective than white's bishop. But could I break down white's position? That's still up in the air, because as long as white defends a4 and doesn't lose that pawn outright, I still have quite a bit of ground I need to cover before I can win this guy. Maybe I would continue with queen a6 and look to triple on the file. Attack this weakness and this weakness. So after white put the knight on c4,